In this video, we strive to remain spoiler-free, discussing only story and plot elements from the books relevant to what has occurred already on the show. When necessary, a spoiler warning with a countdown will be given.
Hi everyone, I'm Jen.
I'm Max.
And I'm the Geeky Hippie. Welcome back to What the Adaptation. We're the YouTube channel that reviews adaptations from one form to another form. This week, we're continuing with The Witcher. Max, what can you tell us about this episode?
Episode 4, The Invitation, directed by Ganja Montioro. I can't pronounce it today. They directed last week's episode. Written by Ray Benjamin. They've previously written for The Witcher, a show called Prestige, and they worked as a script coordinator for both The Witcher and Our Flag Means Death.
Not bad.
And I'm not sure how much writing goes into script coordinating, but I figured there's something involved there.
Yeah.
And with some of the boat scenes on this episode, I figured Our Flags Mean Death was kind of a bit in there.
Gotcha.
In this week's episode, Geralt gives Ciri constructive criticism. Jaskier is bullied by an annoying quintet before taking Raven around the outside. Meanwhile, Yennefer plays politics before almost doing her best Philippa impression.
Hello.
I love your writing. I love these. I'm looking forward to these each episode now.
I am too. What'd you kids think of this one? I think I know how one of you felt.
I'm letting Max go first.
There were parts I enjoyed. The what do you call it? Jaskier and Ciri just kind of mocking Geralt, and Yennefer in the background was just perfect.
That was good. I agree with that.
The little mini monster fight scene was good. Almost eating the guy who was annoying would have been, if he just got the job done.
Like all of Aldo Marx's troop.
At least
Maybe
one of them.
nice.
Just want to make him a quartet.
What did you think of this episode, Glenn?
I had a lot of fun with it. Parts of it, like pretty much the same stuff Max has mentioned. But it was also mostly for me building that anticipation.
I see what you did there. Yeah, that's true.
And as a nerd for the books, knowing what next episode and the next ones after that are about, I was like, yes. The further into this, we kept getting closer and closer to Aretusa, and I just kept getting more and more excited. This is gonna be great. So this was a kind of a tweener episode, really. It was between last week's episode and this week's episode. It just setting us up. But I do think it had some good character growth, which I'll get to.
Yeah.
So Jen, what'd you think of this episode?
I personally did not care for this episode. I was so excited, if you all remember last week, because I was so pumped and I was like, I didn't have anything negative to say. I don't think I had one negative thing to say about last week's episode. It was all so great. And I agree with you both but it just everything felt like so much filler to me. I just was waiting for it to end. And I'm not even talking about as knowing what they're doing coming from a book reader's perspective of I know who the bad guy is already. Like that already, I set that aside for a moment and just focused on how they were telling the story. And I felt like something was lost. I felt like something was missing. I can't really quite put my name on it. Not even the fact that obviously it's about everyone else besides Geralt. As a Wheel of Time fan, I completely understand what it's like to be, it's about them all kind of situation.
Who's this character?
Geralt, like obviously not about him. It was about everybody else.
I don't know who Geralt is. There is no Geralt. There's Ciri, Yen, and me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, just like there's this string of words behind me here.
Well, I recognize that guy, but I don't know the guy in red.
Do you kind of feel like this episode has been like 30 minutes long and they've been like perfect?
Pretty much. I felt like it was very strained. It was very, like you said, Glenn, and you kind of touched on it very well. You hit the head hammer on the head, I guess is the expression, or hit it right on the nose, is that it was just it was a very filler to me episode. Obviously they're getting towards episode 5, which is kind of the in between. I think there's going to be more episodes the way that Netflix is doing this. Like this is only part of season 3. Right. So
the
you're
last
going
3 episodes come Friday.
We're going to have more, but it was obviously building toward this ball and everything. Now, this is where a lot of the writing, and we'll get into this, was different than the book about things that happen at this ball, like specifically what this ball is supposed to be about. Yen's involvement in the ball is completely different than in the books. But at the same time, it was like, I didn't really, I think I'll know how Gwen feels, or Gwen. I think I know how Glenn you'll feel about the monochromatic monster yet again and yet another episode. I just started laughing as soon as I saw the color of that monster. I'm like, I know what Glenn's gonna say. But
you didn't see its blood? Come on.
Come on. It's green. Other than that, I was just okay, they take the ship. You did have a little bit of that the meeting between the elf queen or whatever and the guy, I forget his name, the
here
yeah okay, so that was K here. That was a little bit of interesting development, but that was maybe all of 3 minutes of this episode, I believe. And that whole thing with like Fringilla just laughing at the tavern, and the fact that she can create flowers and everything else in her vase except wine or ale, like she can't create that. Like I was like, oh my god, I was just face palming myself. Like, why does she need him to pour her a drink if she can create so many things in her cup except ale?
Did you hear the bartender at one point?
Yeah, why are there so many people? Like, why are there so many? Like, who keeps putting
flowers in this?
Yeah, I was like, you could just make ale. And her just laughing and just sitting in the tavern, I was like, this is not... Come on. So anyway, but we'll get to that.
It's entirely possible she drank herself stupid at this point.
Possible.
But she sobered up pretty quickly.
She did at the very end, at the very last word, a little bit.
Well, of all the changes from the source material, what are some you enjoyed and some you disliked? Jen?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me for Yen to be all of a sudden like, the thing that doesn't make the most sense is how all of the mages are like, okay, Yen, we totally see your point about except obviously the one that was in Rodania that she had to trick into coming into. Obviously that made sense, but everybody else was like, this is actually kind of, I think, more last episode anyway, but they were like tapping on their chairs like, yes, we agree, and Yen, you can get us all together. And she's like, I didn't really care about all the Council of Mages. I was just like, this whole plot line where Yen is doing this, I probably don't like that the most. It seems the most unbelievable to me.
When
personally,
right before they started tapping, I was just waiting for everybody to start bursting out laughing at her.
Yeah, I know. Like, this would not go down like this. No way. She says one sentence and everyone's mind is changed. Yeah. But anyway, that's more of this episode. God.
I think first watch, I 100% expected laughing.
I think their changed minds mostly came from the fact that Tisea and Vilgefortz were backing what she said. Because it was after Vilgefortz started knocking that all the other mages started supporting it. So I think there's a little bit of, not so much it's Yen that's that convinced them, but that Vilgefortz backs this idea.
Yeah. So for this
that's
episode,
just the way I interpreted it.
I'll just take Yen and her whole putting everything together to answer that nicely. It's probably what I didn't find the most. It was so quickly done, in my opinion, that everyone was just like went along with it. But that's it. That's what I'll say.
And I think that's an artifact of what they did to Yen the last season. Having her, side with Voleth Mare or whatever, the old witch woman who's not in the books, the Baba Yaga character, and turning on everybody. If they hadn't done that, which I complained a lot about last year, if they hadn't done that, I don't think they would have had to do this way. I don't think they would have had to put Yen involved in the middle of it, especially considering what comes out of it. I definitely think she's going to get blamed no matter what for what happens next week.
I agree with you there. So that was probably my biggest deviation I did not like, is that whole arc with, like, Yen is doing this and they're all doing it, except for obviously Dijkstra and at Redania and stuff. So, but that's to be expected.
I can't say that for me there was a change that I actually actively disliked. I really liked everything we saw with Jaskier and Ciri together. Not just, their interactions that match up to a certain scene in the book, which I'll talk about later, but I like them in the cabin there playing cards, that whole conversation. I don't know. I had noticed last year that we rarely ever see Jaskier and Ciri talk to each other in the books, and I think that one scene with them watching Geralt and Yen is about the only time they ever actually talk to each other in the book. The books. I could be wrong on that, but so I like seeing them interact. But the ones that change, the others sticking close to what source material. I'm really not really disliking anything yet, but I'm also not really super happy with. Kind of ambivalent to the changes in this one.
See, could we add in liking the teaching Geralt to smile?
That was cute.
That was a fun line. That was a cute line.
That was cute. I agree.
I'm still not really sold on the whole Radovid romance line. Like, that was a really easy line to get the romance going. Like, Dandelion was just
a picture of.
Huh? Oh no!
Yeah, the picture like, Discord earlier.
Well, he did the little song number, and that was just enough to push Dandelion over the edge to be romanced.
Oh, I got you. Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. It just didn't come off as real enough for me. I don't know. From a chemistry perspective, it's like I can definitely see Jaskier's chemistry towards Radovid, but I'm not really feeling it the other way around. If that makes sense.
Yeah. You think Radovid is using Jaskier, and you don't think that it's legitimate? Is that what you're saying, or are you saying
at this point in time?
Okay. Or is it
I can see that. You don't quite buy.
It feels one-sided. It feels very one-sided.
Okay.
I can see that, definitely. How do you guys feel about the whole Radovid Jaskier romance as it is? Anyway, in the first place, you guys enjoying it in general, or do you think that's too big of a change from the book?
No, I don't think it's too big of a change. It makes sense for Jaskier's character.
Thankfully, it's not the same Radovid from the books, because that'd be very wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they aged him up quite a bit, wouldn't you say? It made him completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, and made him a brother instead of a son. So yeah, they definitely aged him.
I'm okay with the when they were like
kind of like it.
Yeah, the whole, because I was like, okay, when they started like grabbing each other and kissing, I was like, okay. I was like, maybe it could have been a little bit rushed at this point, but I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I could deal with that. Seeing that on screen, I was like, at this point,
I still suspect that in the books, Jaskier Dandelion has a crush on Geralt. At least I've always thought.
Yeah, but
just never acted on it.
We just need episode 6, Ciri walking to the barn and going, "Oh God, no."
Yeah. Yeah.
Question number 2. How well did the show interpret the appearance and nature of the costumes, props, scenery, and creatures, both practical and VFX? And did you enjoy the music?
A very big thumbs up for the music.
Oh, we'll say the music's good.
Even Voldemort's, I enjoyed.
Didn't even notice it this time. Well, except for the quintet stuff, but like the background music, I didn't even notice this episode again.
That's kind of a good thing. Sometimes.
They did pretty good with the effects, in my opinion. I could tell, like, obviously the boat was a soundstage, but it was done just good enough. It was good enough that I was buying it. So also, I really love the whole overhead drone shot of them on the cliff, waiting to get on the boat and everything like that. That was beautifully done. Costuming is the same on point. I like of course I like Yen's racy outfit for the ball that they sheet. Like, it was very good. Actually, I don't like Geralt's outfit for the ball. I don't like Geralt's. I like Yen's. But I like he looks very padded and weird, and I didn't like that one design or whatever was that, like, I didn't like it. I just didn't care for it. But other than that, everyone else was on point and everything else was too. I like the gloomy, like, flickering candles in the library when Triss is talking. I forget what's his name. I like all of their costumes for the ball. Everyone else's was wonderful. It was great. It was just Geralt, so I'm not gonna give that as too big of a knock. I think it's just gonna go with it. Okay.
I was quite happy with all the costuming, to be
Yeah.
honest. The one thing I didn't like was the makeup on Triss for the ball. They're just like
it was very game. That was very game-like.
Really?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it
used to
reminded
that.
me of that character on the Drew Carey show.
Yeah,
the
with
lady
her
who
dark eyeshadow, the green eyeshadow.
and it was like straight up to her. I swear it went to her forehead.
Yeah.
Into her forehead.
I kind of liked it. It was
I
very
didn't
over the
care
top.
for it.
Yeah, it was very extreme. Very, I will say that. It's dramatic.
I can't remember how much we saw of that ball.
Speaking of Triss, did anybody else seem to think that at first when Istrid and Triss met in the library, there was a little bit of tension there?
Oh yeah, for
Okay.
real. Yes, I thought the same thing. I was like, what's gonna go on? Is she
I'm like, I have no objection to that. You know,
like, is she trying to get
that would
back
be
at
another
Yen?
change.
Is she trying to get back at Yen for taking one of Yen's lovers? Because, like, again, like, dang, I'm like, you're just going not only for Geralt but him too. I'm like, Jesus, girl.
That would be, I forgot about that.
I was like, Triss, you've got to keep it in your pants when it comes to people that Yen's been with. Come on.
Oh. I mean, in the game, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. It does.
Is this in the game?
No,
just in the game.
Yeah.
There's Triss and Yen, and Geralt has to choose between the two.
Yeah, they're very.
So Triss going after one of Yen's other guys makes sense.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I don't know them in the books or in the game. I mean, the two ladies in the game, but I don't know if I could choose between the two on the show. I really don't know if I could choose between those two.
It's become a point of contention for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know a YouTuber who does not like book Triss at all.
I will say that Geralt has seen Triss sick, but he hasn't really seen Yen sick. From a relationship standpoint, a couple of things kind of stood out to me. Like, you mentioned that cliff face part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why you would have a dock at the bottom of that cliff when it looked like there was a clear path going down the edge of the cliff.
That's true.
It was like, I was watching, like, do they have like a ladder, elevator going down there? This isn't making any sense to me.
A lift.
Like, why would we do this?
Mm-hmm.
Put it like right there when there's a clear, possible like hill going down to the shore.
Mm-hmm.
You're making a lot of more effort to build a lift to go up the sheer face instead of just going around and going up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Then Geralt made a mention about taking the coastline on a boat regarding the thing, and like almost like using the same boat, but it's like I'm looking at the design of this boat with this giant wheel, and it looks like they're using like a really large chain that goes across the harbor.
Siri referred to it as a chain.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't think that boat works that way, Geralt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think he was talking about taking another boat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Mhm.
know, but it's like I'm thinking like, I don't know, Geralt.
Yeah, I think he was talking about like having to take another one around the long way instead of like over the chains, so that would add 2 days to the journey. But I
Yeah.
could be wrong.
I don't know if there's like other
That's-
boats down
that's-
there or something, but I don't know.
Hmm.
But it was just a interesting prop because like I don't think we have like that kind of boat as a like that kind of ferry chain thing going on in our world.
Hmm.
Like I know we had
There might
similar
have been.
things.
It's Terran Ferry, is what it is.
Well, I know you had like
chains instead of
similar.
ropes.
I know you had similar things, but I don't think we had like that big wheel thing going around.
Mhm.
And what's even
There
powering
might
it?
have been. Yeah, that is a good question. What was power line?
Because we didn't see. I don't think we saw any stairs going down to a below deck or anything like that. I didn't see water sloshing up through that big gear thing.
No.
I'm really questioning what was going on with that boat.
No idea. It's going towards the Tanith Islands, Tanith Islands. So,
But if
maybe
you
there's
did
magic
those when
involved.
they cut the thing's tail off, you did see that chain interact with that.
Hmm.
I think we covered the creature. I think Glenn, you hated the colors of it, right?
Yeah, the design other than that wasn't bad, and I'll concede that in the case of this creature being an underwater creature, or at least spends a lot of its time underwater, having one color doesn't surprise me because you look at a lot of our dark water, aquatic life that we have in the real world, and it's going to be, monochromatic. It's only in the clear waters where you're going to find the fish that have lots of color.
I even felt that the monster was just like, here, I guess you got to have a monster this episode. You have one action scene. Here you go. I think it was kind of just fan service a little bit. It was fun.
I had fun with the action sequence,
Hmm.
especially since it was mostly Siri who took that monster out.
I did like the
It
fact
really
that they
was.
showed her learning her Witcher abilities and like where, okay, I agree with you 100% on this. Absolutely, Glenn. You did get to see where she was a little bit in her training other than just the magical part. And the only way they did that really so far this season is with that exchange. So,
They even,
like where she's at. Yeah.
I believe I even caught her doing a move in the fight that was something she was getting lectured on in Blood of Elves by Geralt back when they were still at Kaer Morhen. That whole argument she had about I can't possibly deflect, a strike from something stronger coming in, and he's like, no, you don't deflect it, you let it deflect you, and puts her into a pirouette because she swung and the monster struck out, hit the sword, and she did a pirouette around and came at it from the other side. And I was like, oh, at least I seem to remember. At least that's what it. I swear I saw. But I enjoyed the fight scene. I really did. I just
The fight
it's
scene
very
was
little in this
good.
episode. Yeah,
Just
and it was just cool seeing Siri kick ass.
it was cool seeing her come up from the top. Just that whole thing where
That was fun.
that was cool.
She comes dropping down.
Mm-hmm.
We also had
Geralt was mostly there as a distraction.
Yeah, we also had the Yennefer part where she went through the portal, almost face plants, fights off fake Geralt, and then some bug butterfly things evaporated.
Oh, because there's cicadas, something. Yeah, it looked like cicadas or something.
So that was a VFX effect going on.
Reminds me of that shot in Rings of Power, the one episode when the wizard guy got a cat there or a kid. When Gandalf or whoever that really is, blasted all those three into maws. It was a very similar effect, but just a lot faster.
When Triss healed Yennefer, did you hear that sucking noise of her wound closing up?
I did not.
No, I didn't. I'll have to go back.
There's like a little noise effect it made. There was like I don't know how you want to call it.
Yeah, sucking. Yeah, I can imagine it. Yeah.
Foley artists are on point this episode. This season.
I was like
really on point with.
It was a slurping, like sucking noise. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just kind of
it
stood out. I was like, that was an interesting sound.
cool. No, I didn't catch that. That's awesome.
What is a scene or sequence you most enjoyed and or hated?
I will
I
not go
know.
first.
I really was. This might seem crazy, but I was kind of almost over the moon having that scene that I mentioned earlier where Jaskier and Siri are talking and they're
Yeah.
watching Geralt and Yennefer.
Yeah.
And the first couple times I watched it, I thought it was like Siri agreeing with Jaskier the whole time, and that she wasn't arguing like she does with, when she calls him a liar, and that's not what they're talking about, as she does in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, no, she gets that all out of the way in like the first 10 seconds of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a quick line or two, and like didn't even focus on it. But yeah, that scene, that's actually one of my favorite scenes from this book. Just because it's such a character moment.
Yeah.
It tells you who each of these 4 people are,
Mm-hmm.
in so many ways without 2 of them even saying a word,
Mm-hmm.
just being talked about as you watch. But yeah, I really enjoyed that scene, and I think Freya and Joey did a great job with it. So
Yeah, they
I was
did a good
happy.
job. I agree with you 100% there. It was very nice.
Honestly, I'd say basically the same thing. Them making up the lines with, what Geralt and Yennefer are saying. Ciri and Jaskier.
It's a great scene.
The fight scene's a decent scene for this episode. There's a little like moments here and there that kind of catch your eye. We have like that callback to that horseman. He's delivering the message. He gets shot through the throat.
Yeah.
It's not really a great scene, but it's a good callback to what was it, episode 1? That was a decent callback.
Episode
we have the
2, I think.
one of them,
Yeah.
We have the card game, which was just great, of Siri kicking his ass at this game for no particular reason.
It was great.
And you're pretty sure he's cheating and he's still losing.
No, he's cheating to lose.
Yeah.
Either
He's
way.
cheating to lose so that she wins. That's what you do when you play a game with kids.
And then there was a moment at the actually beginning of the episode that has me wondering about like the Emperor and Cahir. Like, you have literally the Emperor going into this guy's chambers, and like that's literally not what an Emperor is going to do. They're not. They have people who do that for them.
I think he wanted to talk to him privately.
But even then, it's like he's doing stuff that they literally, that's way below their pay grade, if you will.
Yeah.
If that makes
But
sense.
don't forget, this is a guy who lived as a hedgehog.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean. It's like,
however long.
We're seeing him do things that any other people in, places of royalty, like way beneath them.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that how direct he is being with these people. I'm just seeing Jen
also
die here.
Budgetary, I know.
Yeah, but still, it's like you have I can't remember the guy's name, Radovich's brother.
Vizimir.
Yeah, he's straight up how exactly expect that kind of character to act. He's not going to wipe his own ass. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's true.
He probably doesn't know how.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
It's probably what Eva's for.
I love the show because it's the only thing you could do. You could say that sentence and it makes sense. Then again, remember, he did live his life as a hedgehog. It was just that one sentence. If you just said that anywhere else, take it out of context. It's so funny. I'm sorry. And in the serious delivery, we're all nodding sagely, like that's true. He was a hedgehog. That's so stupid. But I love it. It's great. Oh my god, that's what I was laughing at. But again, he was a hedgehog. So
and Max waiting for us to stop laughing.
And then I think about like the Monty Python scene. You are Newt. I got better. Like it was so. I apologize. I'm sorry.
And now I'm just thinking about the original song, The Hedgehog, before they redid it. They clearly saw the Netflix, hedgehog guy.
Yeah.
And like, this sold, so let's do it that way. The same graphics.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah. But just kind of thinking about that scene, like it's not really a great scene, but it is something worth keeping in mind for the show. Like the different types of kings and emperors, and like this white flame is not
Sure.
typical.
No, he's not.
He-
I agree.
No.
He is something that is dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when he's directly dealing with these people like this, that's something.
Yeah, yeah. Also, it kind of makes me think of he can't trust anybody maybe around him to deliver those messages or do those kinds of things, because he's a very like, this is prime utmost important to him is to get his daughter back. So he doesn't want to entrust that to anyone. Sometimes people that are nefarious won't give commands with something that important, because that's what they're doing, that's their utmost thing, and all the other things that they're doing around that is fiction. So they see to the one most important thing first and their devious nefarious scheme themselves, and that way they can't wonder, I wonder how this was conveyed, or I wonder if this person actually gave this in the right way they should have. But I understand what you're saying there.
I feel like his say his castle wall is littered with the heads of sycophants.
I agree.
Like
Probably.
he doesn't suffer them,
I agree.
and
Mm.
that's interesting.
See, I'm still. I'm not entirely happy that we're getting all these scenes with Emir in the first place.
Mhm.
I think Emir should have. Emir's identity should be a mystery still.
Right.
Giving it away. Because that's late in book 5 or
Mhm.
not book 5, last book of the saga. Yeah, book 5 of the saga. Because I'm not counting 5 books. If you don't count Season of Storms as part of the saga or the anthologies. But I think Kahir, however I'm gonna say it, or should be said, I think he should still be a mystery. He should only be an intimidating, frightening figure to us as
Mhm.
viewers.
Yeah, not
Um,
series dad.
I don't want to be seeing. I don't think we should be seeing any of why he's doing what he is for the Emperor. Why he's hunting for Siri. Why he's going to be doing in episode 6 what he's going to be doing in episode 6. And then going forward, I think it should still be at this point a big time mystery to the viewer.
Mhm.
So I think they should have waited to bring Emir back, or at least reveal who the actor was.
Right. Right.
Only people who look at the casting are going to notice, oh, hey, that's the guy who was in the one episode of season 1.
I would say it does at least up the political side of the storyline, because the whole Nilfgaard storyline is like filtered throughout the novels, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's like you could have the story without him, but I don't know.
We'd be getting all the politics of everybody else.
Yeah.
Of all the other groups, and why they're doing what they're doing. It's not that I dislike, it's just not how I would have done it. It's not a dislike how I feel what they did to Yennefer last season.
I almost feel like they're trying to make him the sympathetic villain.
Yeah.
The whole, how do I put it? They aren't necessarily the worst when it comes to treating elves, but they're pretty bad. But they're also not the worst. Which is, yeah. Like
they don't treat elves bad at all.
I know.
It's mages they don't treat well.
Yeah. But it's like, what was it? They at least in the show, they straight up murdered the baby elf. So it's like they have nefarious reasons for what they're doing.
Right.
And even though they're treating them well, it's not necessarily for the reasons we think they are.
Right.
So it's like the motivation is different. So the racism is still there. They're treating them better because it's for convenient political ally over actually being, they're treating them nice.
Mhm.
Though we do have the whole sword angle with the dwarf, for instance. He appreciates their work, but does he actually appreciate them as a person is another matter.
Yeah.
So it's like compared to the northern countries in this world, which are just absolutely horrible towards, the elves and dwarves and everybody else.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's like, who's the good guy and bad guy here? It's like, I know in the games at some
Well, I
point you're
know-
like, who the hell are we rooting for here?
Yeah. Yeah.
In the books, at least, the Nilfgaardians are descended from elves.
Yep.
They're part elf.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to carry that onto the show. That would mean that Ciri has elf blood coming from two directions.
Mm-hmm.
That never occurred to me until just now, and I've known it, but I just never thought it. I don't recall any actual in the books racism against the non-humans by the Nilfgaardians. Not that in the book, nor do I remember any coming from them in the show. It's all the Northerners that have, these attitudes.
I'm pretty sure in the
Halflings
book or
exist in
show,
the show.
pretty sure in
I
the
don't
show we
remember
did
any of
get
it.
some from the Nilfgaardian army towards the elves when they were in their encampment in the Nilfgaard, whatever thing with Kahir, or what his name was.
Okay, here.
Yeah, because they were like, what was it? Pretty much bullying and kicking them around.
Mm.
That was the people in Sintra. They're in Redania. All the abuse we've seen of the elves has been
Because
Northerners.
I remember him coming in there and declaring himself as part of their army. At one point, like that's where he revealed himself who he was. That's when got back to the Philippa and all that. When he finally came back after whatever season, I think 3.
This is season 3.
Or sorry, season 2. When he got back from Yennefer releasing him, he got back into the courtyard. I think he witnesses some elves getting whatever his name is. I bring up his name here.
I do that every episode.
Yeah.
Yen and Kahir see it together, but they're still in a northern controlled city. And that's when we see the elves that they remember with the whole sandpiper thing. The elves are actually,
I no, I'm talking about the city that not Philippa, Fringilla's in,
Mm-hmm.
where he comes to, where he smuggles himself in there or something before he reveals who he is. I'm pretty sure he witnesses some elves basically being like bullied or kicked upon in that city.
You
By
mean where she
Nilfgaardians.
goes and painted the doors and things like that? Is that the city you're talking about?
when he,
or-
I can't
when
recall.
he gets back,
I'll have
when
to
he
go
comes
back and watch
from
those
having been
episodes.
a prisoner. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're misremembering what's going on in the city there.
So I
There are a
recall
bunch
it was
of
the same
elven
city.
Refugees.
I'm pretty sure it's the same city.
That's Sintra. That's
said-
Sintra.
Pretty sure it's the same city Fringilla was in.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
city of Sintra. He's seeing refugee elves being helped by the Nilfgaard soldiers. He was told to back off and get in line because he was trying to cut the line. That was the shoving around that was going on in there. If I remember, now that I know what scene you're talking about,
I
That's-
don't remember the whole thing.
it's as he arrives in Sintra.
But I seem to recall there was
Zendaya.
something about like they were in this big courtyard, and I thought it was the Nilfgaardian soldiers in there, and they're like training the other elves, and they're like just beating on them at one point.
Oh, now that you
remember
mentioned,
them
I do remember
training, but-
that. Yeah, the
I remember
training.
them training them, but training is kind of a brutal thing to do when you're
Yeah, it was less
Sorry.
training and more just trying to beat them
Beating up. Yeah.
that's not the impression I got. But
Like I said, I have to go back and give you the episode. But I want to say it was pretty explicit what was going on.
I effing hated the entire
Hmm.
those people singing the bards. I know they were supposed to be really annoying. I hated the entire thing. Get rid of it. I know even the annoying part, it's so funny because they come on the freaking ship and the first thing as Chris is looking at it says, "A tentacle, please take him." And he was originally talking about the main guy that was talking with Jaskier, and then later it was the guy that was playing the little accordion that actually gets tentacled. And I look at him as soon as it happened, and I'm like, "You called it." He goes, It was so like, oh my god. And then of course the camp of the tentacle grabbing him just as he was being the most annoying, and I'm like, okay. I was like, it was high camp, it was theater camp. To its even the timing, it was very but I wasn't enjoying. It was like, oh no, like, oh my god, like all of it. Like I was like, I mean, I did kind of enjoy the part of, because you see it in the books where Jaskier has competition with other bards and stuff like that he comes across on his journeys. So
and Voldemort is name dropped a couple of times in the books.
yes, so you do see that. So it was kind of interesting to see it, but like it took the episode and my immersion in high fantasy, right? Because the entire reason why I enjoy anything, Witcher or otherwise, but this definitely applies to The Witcher. It's just, oh, I'm involved in the Nilfgaardians, involved in the Witcher, and involved in killing monsters. I'm involved in the love story, and involved in this, and then you have these singing, prancing, like woo. And I know that that's what they're about. That's in their shtick. I get it. Like I understand the impression that I'm supposed to get from them is not good. That's the point. But at the same time, I'm just like, just get rid of it. Like I agree that the whole card playing thing with Ciri is good. Them whole talking behind the trees about pantomiming what's going on between Geralt and Yen at their reunion is good. I actually like Yen in the portal. However, I thought the real Yen, I was disappointed in Yen's intelligence during that, because when Geralt, all of a sudden, she's magically transported and Geralt pops out of nowhere, she gives away where Ciri is in 1 fucking second. And she should have known and saw that it was a trap. I'm like, Yen, you're too smart for this. She goes, Ciri, I thought she was with you. And she just tells this random apparition that's Geralt where Ciri's at. And I'm like,
Right.
oh my God. In 1 second, she gives it away. I didn't like that. I was like, the real Yen would have never. She would have been like, who are you? What are you? How did you get here, Geralt? Like, you know what I mean? She would have been more, not go,
Right.
Ciri, I thought she was with you. And I'm like, oh my God. I was doing that the whole time. I'm like, the real Yen would have never fallen for that. Never.
Until I was rewatching it, I was really puzzled why she was having somebody else make a portal for her in the first place.
Yeah.
Because the one thing she was good at, she always was good at, was portaling.
Yeah.
That was the thing she was best at least on the show. With
she was the Androl of portals, but anyway, I'm sorry, I had to do that.
They had a whole what was it? I don't know, just word I'm trying to think of, but like they talk about secure portals, whatever that's supposed to mean.
It's camouflaged, so that nobody could track where it was going. It's like the Conclave will do this, but who in the Conclave is doing?
Yeah.
So my only guess is like if someone's tracking specifically her, maybe someone else makes it they can't track her. I don't know.
I was a little disappointed in Yen giving away that series with Geralt in 1/2 of a second, in a very dubious circumstance that she found herself being whisked away to. I'm like, oh my God.
I do want to mention that when they talk to the guy on the boat thing, 100% a quest in Witcher. Just the way the dialogue was. We'll slay the monster for you. We'll get a ride, right? And like, that was a quest.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and Oben, the fairy master, he name dropped halflings, which made me happy. At least I know halflings exist in this show. I just don't know if we're gonna see any. I'm afraid that a couple of key we've already skipped, like the whole thing with Jaskier and Ciri watching the two of them talk. That was at the house of the family of halflings. We had a bunch of halflings right there, and we've skipped those halflings. There's a particular doctor I'm afraid we're going to lose in season whatever, from book 5.
I mean, maybe they were there. We just didn't see them because the camera is only this high off the ground. I do kind of wonder if the whole Yennefer and fake Geralt, if that sets up a possible changeling episode for later. How well written was the dialogue? Did it adapt dialogue well from the books, and did the actor deliver those lines well?
I will continue to say what you guys have been saying. I really loved the whole thing with Jaskier and Siri.
Although that's a
Period.
change.
It's
is something from it. It's a change to an extent, but
that was good dialogue.
Yeah.
That is all I will say. I didn't like Daryl in this episode. I didn't like Yen the most in this episode because she was the most out of her character as far as I'm concerned. Not only with how she was written, but how she reacted to giving her what Siri was. I just didn't like it, friends. But I am still hopeful for how they're going to end episode 5. They did a wonderful job because I am very much, like Max was talking before we started filming, interested in how they're going to do the ball scene. So I am excited for that, but otherwise I didn't like it. Go ahead.
I think you'll like some of it. There's one element to it I think you might not like, but we'll see next week.
Okay.
See you next week.
I was okay also with the romance between Jaskier and what's his name? R starts with an R. We just said his name. Radovic. Yeah. Ravioli. Chef Boyardee. I like him, and I like Chef Boyardee and Jaskier. It's very good. That was different. I'm okay with that. I should say that as well.
I'm just worried that pickup line's gonna catch on now.
That's a good Chef Boyardee time. All right, well, that's what I'm going to call their ship name for me.
I think the actors all did a great job with the lines they were given. Even Valdo Marx's troupe did a great job with what they were given to work with. I think. So that's the least of my complaints this episode. It's just what they were given to work with wasn't always that great.
Even the guy behind Jen, him grunting about what was it, mold, or what was the word he used? Fungus, that was the word.
And the other wizard said it first. I can't remember his name.
He came off as a cranker's old man. He came off as like a cranker's old man very well this episode.
Didn't he?
And just a month until I get to see him as Grand Admiral Thrawn. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that's the same actor? Blue.
That's Thrawn. That's who's playing Thrawn. He did the voice on Star Wars Rebels, and he's playing Thrawn in live action.
Well, if there's no other dialogue things, the next question is, who do you call the best actor or worst actor? And you can choose up to 3, Glenn. Just Glenn. Jen, you can choose like 10, 20.
Jen pulls up the IMDb list.
No, they acted good. I agree with what Glenn said earlier. They acted well based on what they were given, and I think that's very true. I think that the writing was just getting you to a certain point, but then I think at this point of where it was in storytelling, they really couldn't put any more meat into what they were working with because they were so focused on getting toward either the ball or the event conclusions of what they'd already set up, and they're like, we don't have any. Do you guys have anything for this particular episode for an hour's worth of content? No. Okay. And the actors did the best that they could. So I will agree with that. I don't think anyone acted badly, because even when Yen was saying those lines, I do not think Yen would say she acted them well. So there's a difference between writing and acting, and all the actors did a really good job. I think. I probably will say my favorite is either Jaskier or Siri. I think Siri wins out by a slight margin over Jaskier because I enjoy the action scenes from her as well. So combining what she was saying with Jaskier as well as her fighting on the ship, I didn't like necessarily the creature itself so much, but I did like how she was showing off her Witcher skills, and she did that very plausibly and believably. So I'm gonna say probably her, the actress, her name, Freya. She did good. She's probably my favorite in this episode. I'll say that.
She was who I have at the top of my list for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd you have next?
I think actor wise, everyone did great, like Jen said. I have to give a shout out to the quintet for just being annoyingly good.
They
I only
they
got
did that good.
marked down one name from that. That was I was rather amused by this guy's performance. Nathan Armarque Laria as Valdo Marx. I gotta give props to the makeup department, hair and makeup department, because that was one hell of a mustache he had.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, little curly cues. Yeah,
Number one for me was Freya Allen as Siri this episode.
yeah, she did great.
I really liked her performance.
I agree.
Physical and acting performance, regular acting performances, emoting, I should say. Anya Chalotra, just I think she might be the best performer overall on this show. Looking at every episode from the beginning, she outdoes everybody else, it seems, most of the time.
Yeah.
But coming really close, actually, I'd say this episode at least, he's on par with her as Joey Beatty as
Jaskier.
As Jaskier.
Yeah, he's very good too.
He's been really doing a wonderful work, some wonderful work this season.
I agree.
Those two I'm bouncing back and forth between who I'd say is the MVP.
Question number 6 of the themes present in this episode. Which ones got your attention? What did you think of those themes, and are they relevant to the books or events happening in real life?
I have one that I picked up on.
And
I normally ask to go last because I don't want to steal anybody's, but I have one, so I'm just going to throw it out there.
Okay.
Forgiveness was the only one that I really picked up on. There was the mutual forgiveness between Yennefer and Ciri over last episode's fight.
Yeah.
There's the mutual forgiveness between Geralt and Yennefer over everything, because Geralt's Geralt and Yennefer's Yennefer.
Yeah.
And Yen even seeking Visimir's forgiveness when she went to kiss his ass to get what Philippa to come to the conclave. She hadn't gone there intending to kiss Visimir's ass, but she had to, because Visimir saw her there and had no choice. So that was my one theme that I picked up on.
I would say I don't know how to say it in one word. I can characterize it in a sentence, like staying true to your own course, I guess, is the theme. Ciri wants to be a witcher, and she's going to be a witcher even though she has bad ideas. Geralt course corrects her a little bit and says, we want to be a queen, but make sure you do it in the best way. And she's like, okay. And he's staying true to himself. She is as well. And Yen has for better or for worse, whether I like it or not, she has a new and written dedication in this part of the series where she's going to get the conclave together, by golly, and get all the mages working in unison. And I hope that's not going to go bad and blow up in everybody's faces. But anyway, she's doing her darndest to see that through, and you got to admire that dedication right there. That's amazing. So everyone just staying true to what they believe to be right, including Kahir or whatever his name is. He's not, I don't think he is reluctantly staying true to his course of going through with what the White Flame commands him to do as well. So even everyone's just doing that to the best of their ability, and I would probably say that's the biggest overall theme, but there's not like one word for that. I guess maybe stubbornness, what Max said. That may be it. So
yes, Jaskier's definitely staying true to himself.
Oh, absolutely. He's very much in character.
There's something I was going to mention to go off what you said. The queen angle, when Ciri was saying she doesn't like those drunkard ladies acting, was it pompous? And yet she wants
sloppy drunk.
But yet she wants to be a queen. It's like, that's exactly who you have to deal with all the time.
Yeah. That's true.
It's like that's the training you're going to need to deal with right there. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Although, She didn't really deal with them before, so she's kind of not aware of it. I mean, she had to deal with Calanthe, who I would not call Calanthe catty. No. I mean, she was the lioness of Sintra, but she's not catty.
But there are still other people that pretty much fell into that same category around for any of those balls.
Probably, but it seems Siri must have been kept away from them growing up.
I don't
Mhm.
know. Or just a lot of child forgetting about it.
Yeah.
Any other themes, Jen?
That's probably the biggest and only one that I can truly think of that spans pretty much everyone. So I'm going to go with that.
I had growth. We had
Okay.
Siri kind of growing in her Witcher skills.
True.
We had Geralt actually offering, constructive criticism for once.
True.
Kind of smiling. Kind of like
He was halfway to a smile.
Yeah, which is like opposite of Spock this week.
That's true.
Ugh.
God knows what I'm talking about.
Wow.
Uh,
Boimler had reason to be scared.
Yes, he did. There's some kind of growth with Yennefer in some ways, I guess.
She's a bad fungus.
Yes. Her prostrating herself to everybody, trying
It's
to
true.
get everybody to grovel for forgiveness as politics, and she hates politics, but yet she loves politics, but she can't admit it to herself.
That was the other forgiveness there that I forgot.
We had Destiny work its way back in finally after 4 episodes, with the guy getting shot through the throat.
Yeah. Applegat. Something like that.
Right through the
To
apple.
the throat.
Adam's apple.
Probably.
Clearly that's kind of a thing, especially with Geralt's destiny with a certain bad guy in this episode. Him and Yennefer's and probably Ciri's at some point. Whether or not that destiny is accurate at this point.
Yeah. We'll find out next episode.
If everybody in that hall who needs a good ass whooping.
Stregobor.
But unfortunately, I think we know how that works out in the books, at least the first time. I feel like we had some, maybe some little bit of Destiny stuff going on with Istrid, maybe, but little workings there. Especially like the elves and the book he's looking for.
I don't like him.
I do. I like him more in the show than in the book. He was in the one short story in the book, but I kind of like the show character. I just always have.
It's the weirdest thing. It's like, it's not that I have face blindness, but sometimes when I have Istrid and Vilgefortz, I cannot tell them apart some days, even though they're completely different people.
Yeah.
I think it's the eyes.
Yeah, the eyes, the hair, maybe. Yeah,
I don't know,
there's similar features.
And it's like they're nothing alike in any way, but it's like some days I mistake them for each other. I'll see Vilgefortz, like, Istrid, like, oh, that's not Istrid, it's Vilgefortz.
Yeah. I wonder if that's going to continue to be something that you that you feel in future episodes. Go ahead.
So I see Vilgefortz, like, oh, he was just with Triss. Like, oh no, he wasn't. That was the other guy.
Wasn't. Yeah. No, Yennefer's other lover. No.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly. Oh, we did have that nice body horror in, what was it, episode 2?
Okay, I liked that. That was kind of freaky.
Episode 3. No, that is episode 2.
I liked it. It was definitely interesting. I was like, okay, you know what? Props to complete creativity here, because I have not seen anything like that in like monster stuff before.
And I think Bill and I agreed on that for themes. Like, clearly we have to watch out for those in the streets, because that's something we just got to worry about.
Yeah. This is no new fear.
Yeah. You open your mailbox and there's just a 18-limbed creature running towards you. You just got to run in your house. Real life theme. Come on.
There you go. You got to kill off the heads. All of them different people.
was just the most disturbing monster of the show yet.
Yeah, it was very disturbing. They did a good job.
Next episode is episode 5, The Art of Illusion.
The art of illusion, not at all as what it seems. Well, thank you guys for coming on and discussing this tonight. Thank you guys at home for watching. Please come back next week as we discuss the 5th episode of the season. And please leave us a like, a subscribe, and hey, don't forget to be awesome.